Welcome back to The Route to Success, where we explore hope, resilience, and practical tools for living. Let me just start out for living and leading well. Today's guest is Bianca Riemer, who was with us last week. Very brilliant woman, incredible past. I'm not going to do a lot of her financial background here. Go back and listen to the first episode. You'll hear that. Today, we are going to focus on Pranic Healing, a system based on the concept of light force energy, also known as the prana. The practice works with the body's energy field, including chakras and meridians, to help the body restore balance and accelerate healing. And this began as a personal exploration for Bianca, and it has turned into her calling. Bianca, welcome back. Talking to you is amazing, and I have to say I've been excited for this call, these calls for days, and I've really looked forward to you being here. So thank you for giving us 2 sessions today. And again, please, you can link, I'm going to say this at the beginning and the end, hopefully I remember for the end. Reach out to Bianca through LinkedIn or through her website. We'll link everything in the show notes. If you are feeling led towards healing and towards growth, great person to start with. So Bianca, are you ready? Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So you had a very successful career in finance before moving into coaching and healing. Can you walk us through what you feel comfortable with in the life events that led you to reconsider your path and to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So any dinner table conversation was about money, the business, clients, making money. And I remember I didn't spend much time with my parents because they were always working, but my grandmother was a bit older and we spent a lot of time watching TV together. And I loved watching figure ice skating, the speed, the grace. And my grandmother would ask me, oh, what do you want to be when you get older? When you grow up, what job are you going to do? And I said, man, I'm going to be a figure ice skater. And she said, no, you're not going to be a figure ice skater. You're going to be a lawyer or an accountant, because they make a lot of money per hour. I can see it in the invoice that they're sending me. So that's how then you can be independent of your husband. So if things don't work out, you can make enough money so you can be by yourself. So what happened is I became an accountant and then a stockbroker, because stockbroking is the part of accounting where you can make the highest amount of money. And also it was very interesting. And but everything changed when I had my kids and my parents died at the same time.
Oh,
so
wow.
Even though my career was the best ever, I'd reached cruising altitude. I'd made a name for myself. My job was to call people, but people were calling me. So it was great. It was very easy. But I remember thinking about what my life is all about, because my parents died early and my children never met them. And I was thinking, well, life is too short. Life is short. And what do I want my life to be all about? And my parents died early, but because of things that maybe could have been prevented. So they had illnesses. They died of illnesses. And I thought, if they had known what I learned to improve my performance and my health in a very stressful job, maybe they would still be around. So in economics, there's this principle of opportunity cost. It's opportunity cost is what you're losing out on by not doing something. So the opportunity cost of staying a stockbroker was just too high. Because what's the value of a life? Right? You can't possibly make enough money. They can't possibly pay you enough to miss out on the opportunity to help other people improve their lives. So that's how then I decided to leave stockbroking, for the reason that I wanted to help people. Then I was like a squiggly wrote, redefining who I was and who I can help, because my initial target group were new moms and they didn't want to know about me.
I
Put
think
it like that. It was not a pleasant experience for either of
right.
us. So, but then he really valued my experience as a stockbroker and my life experience, etc., with the trauma healing, etc., where leaders in business, either entrepreneurs or leaders in business, especially financial services, where it's very, mental health is still very stigmatized. So people don't really want to talk about stuff, but they're happy to do the energy work because it just releases a lot from their system without them ever having to talk about stuff, which they don't like to do. So it's great.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about, you're dealing with stress, physical symptoms from stress, exhaustion while working in banking. How did that experience shape your search for alternative approaches to healing?
Yeah. So what's great about investment banking is that everything is in-house. You never have to
You
leave
said
the
that.
building.
Right. You're the first person I've ever heard say that before. I remember I was amazed. It's all right there.
Yeah. So you need to see the doctor. You give them a quick call and boom, you can go and see them. But in our case, it was the other building in the same office district. So it was a 5-minute walk, but it was still doable.
Right.
So anyways, I was one of the best customers. So I had aches and pains all the time. I couldn't sleep. And I'd go there, they'd have a look at me and they said, everything's fine with you. You're just stressed. And it was a bit disappointing to me. I was like, oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. There must be a solution. So I looked into complementary therapies and I tried everything that was available at the time, acupuncture, Reiki, yoga, sound bath, shamanic, dancing around a fire kind of stuff, etc. These things helped. I even had coaching back then in 2010, 2011. I even had a health coach at the time helping me to change my habits, which was amazing. It made such a huge difference. So that's how then my quality of life changed, my performance changed as a result of doing these things. And they were just little things like, the health coach, she told me, don't eat your food in front of a screen because you don't digest well. So I was eating my food. I was taking 20-minute lunch break away from my screen and just eating by myself and just spending time with the food and breathing slowly and chewing slowly. And it made a huge difference to the quality of my digestion, actually. Just a small habit like that. It's just incredible. So all these small things then helped me feeling better in my body, feeling better emotionally, and also able to take more risks at work as well. So it's putting myself out there because the scrutiny is really high in the line of work that I was in, because I was writing reports about stocks. They had to be contrarian views and then publish them, send it out to 1,000 people. And some people will call in saying that I was mental. So, yeah, and then having to deal with that. So you need to have a strong mindset, or you need to have that inner peace that we were talking about before, to not constantly question yourself. So I think the complementary therapies then were the reason why I was able to stay in that environment for 10 years, and also that I was able to perform at that really high level for such a long time. And then our team was ranked #1 in the world in the real estate sector. And we weren't working crazy hours. We weren't constantly entertaining people. It was just because of the quality of our research and the very clear ideas that we were communicating very clearly. Contrarian ideas, not aligned with what other people were thinking.
I love it. Okay. So you discovered Pranic Healing. For listeners who have never heard of it before, or if you're like me and I know a little bit about chakras, I know a little bit about aura, enough to say 1 minute's worth of information, what exactly is Pranic Healing and how does it work?
Yes, so Pranic Healing is a zero-touch energy modality that is based on science. And it's based on the principle that the body can heal itself, and that any kind of disease shows up in the body by form of either too much or not enough energy or dirty energy. So what pranic healing does then, it takes the dirty energy out of your system, replenishes the system with energy, and makes sure that the energy body is balanced. What does that mean? It's not that you have a lot of energy in one area and not enough energy in another area. So, and every physical or psychological condition shows up in a very specific pattern in your energy body, which is the chakras, the energy wheels that breathe energy, just like your lungs breathe air, and then the meridians, which are the channels that connect all the chakras. Any disease shows up with a very specific pattern in your energy body. And then we have, we don't diagnose as pranic healers because we're not doctors, but if the client comes in with a diagnosis, I have a manual with hundreds of pages and hundreds of protocols with a step-by-step approach of which area of the body I have to cleanse and re-energize with which frequency of energy, which colors basically are frequencies of energy.
Okay.
And for how long. So it's like a cookbook, basically. It's like a cookbook approach. There's for every disease that shows up differently in the energy body, even though I can't see energy and I can't see it, just by following the step-by-step protocol in the cookbook, the person then may already feel a partial relief of what they are experiencing during the session. And then because I have energized the body and there's lag time, they're likely to start feeling better over the next couple of days that follow. So pranic healing is done in a series of treatments. Most conditions will need a series of treatments. So say if somebody has got very high anxiety, for example, that usually have a series of several treatments before they really start feeling much, much better. So that's pranic healing. So it's a very scientific method that's now validated by clinical research all over the world, and also here in the UK. Some very successful clinical research has been done a few years ago, with the clinical research being published very, very soon as well.
I will tell you, I believe in it 100%. As you were talking about stagnant energy and like bad energy, I immediately went to, oh my gosh, that's inflammation in the body. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the energy represents itself as inflammation. When you get that inflammation to go down and you get that energy vibing correctly, of course you're going to feel better. Of course. Yeah. I don't think I'm saying it well. I hope people can read between the lines, but it is scientific based. It is very theoretical. It's going to work. You just got to try it, right? And now let me ask you a question, and I know this wasn't on the list I sent you, but before we dive in any deeper, we see, at least let me say in the US, when you watch TV, there are all these commercials. My daughter and I find them ridiculously entertaining. They're drug commercials, and they list the side effects of these drugs. And the side effects are insane. Like, they're so bad that you literally sit there and it's like, why would you even try taking this drug, right? So that's typically what we are looking at. Are there negative side effects to pranic healing?
Okay.
Or side effects? Yes, yes, I said that correctly.
That's a good question. Are there side effects to pranic healing?
And of course, there's going to be positive. So let's be honest. Let me help you out a little bit, because I can see I asked such a hard question, and I'm sorry. There's always side effects. There's positive and there's negative. I think what I'm meaning is, are there the kind of negative side effects that could affect other areas of your health? Let me ask the question that way.
So what happens when you have a wound? Let's say you have a cut. What happens when you have a cut? The body heals itself.
Right.
Generally, the body heals itself. But what you do, just to make sure, is you clean the cut first. You clean the cut, and then you let it heal, right? You put a plaster on, but it's not the plaster that heals the cut. It's the body heals itself.
Right.
Or let's take the example of a bone. You put a cast on, you maybe realign the bone with screws, and then you put a cast on. But at the end, it's the body that heals itself. It's not the cast.
Right.
So the body heals itself. What we're doing in pranic healing is the equivalent of cleansing the wound. Say there's a wound. We are cleansing the wound, and then we're giving the body a little bit more of the energy that's already in the body so that it can heal itself faster. That's all what we're doing. We're not interfering with anything that the body does naturally to heal itself. We're just taking away the barriers that would prevent the body from healing itself as fast as it could. So is there a side effect from cleansing the wound? Yes, it hurts.
Right. Yes.
So with does pranic healing hurt? Some people are very sensitive. So what I find with pranic psychotherapy, what's pranic psychotherapy, is like some dirty energy or negative thoughts and emotions basically that are in the person's energy body, and I'm taking them out. It's a bit like clearing books out of a library. The average person has 20 to 80,000 thoughts per day. Sorry, the average person has 20 to 80,000 thoughts per day. So that's the equivalent of writing several books. So these books, they go into a massive library. It's called the Akashic Records, which is the memory of the world, basically. So everything you've ever seen, felt, heard, tasted, or smelled is recorded in these Akashic Records, in these books in your library, the positive things and the negative things. Now, as we go through life, we have certain lessons, and then we create lots of emotions and thoughts around the lessons, the events, right, that happen in our life. A lot of them negative, as we're processing the events. Now, what we do in pranic healing is we're taking all those excess negative thoughts and emotions out of your library. We're clearing out the library. And we're clearing the chakras are basically like the doors to the library. There are some of the upper chakras. What a lot of people feel when I'm clearing out the library energetically is they sometimes feel like they're throwing up. Nobody has ever thrown up in real life during a treatment. But I was once doing a treatment for one of my children who happened to be in a room. He said, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing a treatment for somebody," right? It's a family member. They all get free treatments all the time. And all of a sudden he gets up and he runs to the loo. I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I need to throw up." And I was just clearing out the books from his library, but he was having a reaction. He felt it physically that something was coming out. And yes, he was throwing up negative thoughts and emotions, but he felt so much better after. He wasn't throwing up no physical, but it was just the negative energy coming out. It's like a lot of smoke coming out of the person. I once saw that on myself when someone is doing a healing. There's a lot of smoke coming out. But anyway, so some people who are very sensitive may feel it. So some clients have told me all sorts of things of what they saw during the treatment. They see lights and colors, etc. So they can actually see what I'm doing for them. Even though I can't see it, they can see it because they're more sensitive. But in terms of side effects, sometimes people become a lot more aware of their own thoughts. So say I had this engineer, things were not going very well with his company. He's a large global company, making lots of people redundant. And he said, "I'm having so many negative thoughts. Can you help me with that?" I said, "Yes." So after a couple of treatments, he said, "I feel worse." And what happened was that I had taken out a lot because I can check, because I scanned the energy before and after the treatment. I checked that I've taken out stuff. But what happened with him is he was becoming more aware of more negative thoughts and emotions. So that's why after the first few treatments, sometimes after the first treatment, but after the first few treatments, people don't think they've gone worse. But all that happened is that they've become aware. They've become more aware. It's like, and the way to imagine that is, imagine a motorway and cars are going really, really fast, and they're all going so fast, you can't even see the gaps between them. So they're all going so fast. If a car's going really fast, you may not even see that there's a car. That is the case, if the cars are the thoughts and emotions. So for a lot of people who are working in very stressful jobs, they're not even aware that they're feeling stressed. They only become aware of their stress when there's an ulcer in their mouth, or they can't sleep, or they have digestive problems or headaches, or the shoulders, back hurts, etc. So with the pranic healing, then what happens is that we're taking out some of those cars. Then there's bigger gaps between the cars. Then the cars start going slower, and the person becomes aware, oh, there's cars on the motorway, right?
Yes.
That is the effect. That is the temporary negative side effect of pranic healing, is you become more aware of your own thoughts and emotions, because you were not aware of them previously, and now you're aware of them, you think you've gone worse. But actually, the healing journey has started. We're taking more and more of those negative things out, so there's more space for positive things. Then if the person can do the twin hearts meditation, they feel absolutely amazing. So this healing this woman, she was experiencing domestic abuse. She couldn't sleep. She's waking up with panic attacks. And after a few treatments, she sent me an email saying, oh my gosh, I woke up feeling euphoric. I'm not just sleeping. I woke up feeling euphoric. Now, here's the thing. The situation hadn't changed. The husband was still in the house.
Right.
But she was able to process it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then the healings helped her empower herself to sort out the situation. The husband's no longer around. So we can't change the husband, but we can change how you experience it and how you then deal with the situation.
It all makes so much sense. Thank you for that impromptu question. Thank you for explaining it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This might be a redundant question. Tell me if it is, because I am processing so much. This is brilliant. One of the things that makes pranic healing interesting is that it focuses on the body's energy systems, including chakras and meridians. Can you explain how working with the energy body helps support physical and emotional healing? I think we kind of touched on it, but I don't know if you want to add.
Yes, I can add to that. So about 95% of all illnesses, psychological, physical illnesses, are based by stress, or are caused by negative emotions, right? So the remaining 5% or so are caused by accidents, or accidents. Basically, you eat something wrong, or you cut yourself, you break a bone. External factors, right? But a lot of illnesses are caused by negative emotions. So, for example, when I had all my digestive issues when I was working at Morgan Stanley, that was mainly caused by stress. And in pranic healing then explains that, how that links together. So the center where a lot of stress is created or is held in the energy body is in the upper tummy area. So that then affects your digestive system. So in pranic healing, what we do with complex physical issues like that is we do a psychotherapy treatment first to remove a lot of the stress energies from the body. And then we do the physical treatment afterwards, which is then really cleansing the inner organs of the person's physical body, so that the person then, we've removed the root cause of the digestive issues, which is the stress. And we've also cleansed and re-energized the inner organs as well, so that they can heal themselves faster.
Makes so much sense, because whenever I get upset about anything, my stomach automatically hurts.
Yeah. A lot of people can actually feel their stress or their anxiety. It's like you have a rock in your throat or in your upper tummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I loved it. Okay. Previously, when we spoke, and you shared so many powerful stories today, you told me about the pranic healing you used to support your niece when she was very ill.
Mm-hmm.
How did that experience change your understanding of what is possible with energy works?
Yeah. So what happened with my niece was that this was during COVID, and my niece, she had leukemia, and they had to stop the chemotherapy because the immune system was too low to deal with the chemotherapy. So they had to stop the therapy and just wait for her immune system to improve. Now I told my sister, look, I've got this book on my bookshelf because I took a course a few years ago. I don't really believe in it, but why don't we just give it a go? My sister said, yeah, sure, whatever helps. And so it's the leukemia protocol is about 3 or 4 pages of the book. It's over 20 steps of to cleanse this, re-energize this. So the first time I did it was about an hour and 15 minutes, I think. And my niece wasn't in front of me. She was somewhere else. I was doing it remotely. And I didn't believe that I would be able to do it. I'd read books about energy. I heard all the stories of other people doing healings, but I didn't think that me as an accountant, not believing in it, they would do anything. But anyways, I did it 3 times per week. And after a very short time, my sister then said, you know what? The doctors can't believe it. They say a miracle has happened, but they have never seen anybody's immune system come back so quickly, and they can restart the chemotherapy. So she restarted the chemotherapy. I continued doing the supportive treatments because the treatment strengthened the immune system so that then her system can cope with the medical treatment. Right. And there's fewer side effects. So
I love that. I love that.
So also supporting her psychologically as well, because it is a very stressful time, of course, when somebody's having medical treatment. So yeah, she's well now. We went on holiday last year actually, and she has long hair. She's running around with the other kids. And so this was one very powerful experience at the beginning where I didn't even believe in it. So that's the amazing thing about pranic healing, right? It's not a belief system. It's a science.
Right.
So people I speak to say, oh yeah, that makes sense. I believe it. It's like, I don't care whether somebody believes it or not. What I care about is that you give it a go. Right. And validate it, because you can believe anything. Right. I actually prefer when people don't believe me and say, prove it to me. That's a lot more valuable because it shows a certain degree of the person is intellectually active. Mm-hmm. Then when they validate it for themselves, they won't just go for the next thing afterwards and the next thing and the next thing. So I was like that previously, right? I've gone from yoga and sound baths and Reiki and Psyche and hypnotherapy, and it all helps. And none of it has given me the complete system that I have with pranic healing, where it can help me on a physical level, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, also financially, actually. There's a system in pranic healing where you then understand why is it that some people are so lucky financially, anything they touch turns into gold. Some other people are very unlucky financially. So there's the book called The Secret that talks about it a little bit, but there's things missing in The Secret, and the missing links, I found them in the system of pranic healing. Even though it's called pranic healing, there's a lot more to it. There's the whole spiritual school of it as well. So, but anyway, so the experience with my niece then, for me, that was part of my validation journey, because I would never have mentioned it to any client before then. I was mainly doing hypnotherapy, and the hypnotherapy, because I'd hypnobirthed my own children and I changed my belief system when I was in banking, etc. I had a lot of validation for hypnotherapy, but I had no validation for pranic healing. That validation came afterwards, and I've now let go of the hypnotherapy because the pranic healing actually is a lot more effective. And the person doesn't even have to go back to remembering traumatic experiences. I can just take the trauma out. I know, right? For for a while, I had a package of like hypnotherapy plus the pranic healing. Because the hypnotherapy, when you take people back to their traumatic experiences to help them, change their perspective around it and their belief system, it is still re-traumatizing them.
Yes.
So that's why then I introduced the pranic healing sessions afterwards to take the trauma out. That really helped. But then clients started telling me, yeah, the hypnotherapy was really insightful, but whatever you did afterwards, that just did it for me. So then I thought, let's just do just the pranic, because then people don't need to go through the traumatizing experience in the hypnotherapy anymore. And it works like a dream.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay. So let's talk about your coaching business for just a second. And you've touched on this. So many executives, we could probably even say most executives today struggle with stress, burnout, and nervous system overload. How do you integrate pranic healing techniques into executive coaching?
Yes. So this usually happens for most executives after we've had a few sessions. And it happens as and when it's needed. So the need is either the executive has got some strong pain somewhere in the body, and I can take the pain out for them, or can significantly relieve the pain with pranic healing. It's very, very fast. Or they're feeling so stressed that they can't think clearly. In that case, I do a pranic psychotherapy treatment for them to take out tremendous amounts of stress from the system. And what's amazing is that the quality of their thoughts is completely changed from before to afterwards. So say an example, a few weeks ago, a client had an argument with his romantic partner, and it was just like telling me negative comments about her behavior. I said, okay, let's do a treatment and help you relax. So after the treatment, then I said, the treatment's finished, how are you feeling? And he said, then he started talking about what his part of the argument was and what he's going to change. Completely different. He went from the who's throwing his toys out of the pram to actually thinking about the situation as in like, oh, so what's my contribution to the problem? And let's think about it maturely. Because I've taken out all of the fear and anxiety, stress around the situation from his system. So for executives then in a business environment, what this does is that it takes away a lot of the fear energy so you can see clearly. If you're in a lighthouse and there's lots of fog around you, the fog is your negative thoughts and emotions. What pranic healing does for you is it takes away a lot of the fog so you can see more clearly, and your light can shine more brightly as well.
I love it. That was a perfect analogy. It was perfect. Okay. So say somebody has listened to both episodes and they're curious but skeptical, your favorite kind of client. What are a few simple techniques or exercises they could try to experience the effects of energy work for themselves? Kind of like, I guess I should say, we're talking about like the easy bake oven recipes. Remember when we were little, we had the easy bake oven and we made the little cakes. So going from those recipes to the full blown, I would almost say Gordon Ramsay level recipes, to let them try it at home, see the positive effects, and say, you know what, I want to work with a professional. So what are some things they could do?
Yes. So if you, it depends on how you like to digest information. So for me, at the beginning, I was just reading books about it. So really great books that you can look up and see whether they resonate with you. If you're very intellectual and you want to see the proof of energy working, there's a book called The Intention Experiment by a lady called Lynn McTaggart. So she looked at experiments that have been done around the world with energy healing and also with prayer and thoughts as well. So I read that book after I qualified as a yoga teacher, actually, in 2012-ish. Anyways, and it was some of the experiments were eye-opening because prayer helps a lot. So just prayer helps a lot. So And then obviously you can start experimenting in your own life. I would only ever experiment with positive things, because if you experiment with negative things, whatever you send out comes back to you.
Yeah,
So I
it's so
prefer encouraging people
true.
to do positive things. Also, The Psychology of Belief by Bruce Lipton is a great little book too. Yeah, if the intention experiment is too heavy going, because there's a lot of research in there, maybe start with this Psychology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Then if you really want to know more about energy and do some experiments, there is a great book called Your Hands Can Heal You by Stephen Coe and Dr. something. But anyways, the book is called Your Hands Can Heal You by Stephen Coe. He's the energy healer. So this is about pranic healing. And what you have in there is you have some very simple pranic healing protocols and some very simple techniques that you can do in your house, how you cleanse your house, a daily routine for yourself. He explains the principle of salt baths. There's the Twin Hearts meditation is in there if you want to do it for yourself, although it's a lot better with a recording that you can buy on the internet. Energy hygiene as well in the house, how you can keep your environment clean of negative thoughts. You know, you and I we work online from home. How do we clean our house from all the negative thoughts that are being projected by other people into our house? So all that is in that book. The energy principle is explained, but then more importantly, the technique is in there, so you can try out the technique and validate it for yourself.
Right.
So that's what I really appreciate about that book, is not just talking about stuff. There's an actual technique that you can use right there, right then, to improve your life. Then there's, of course, all the pranic healing books as well, but those go along with the courses. So maybe, and I help out at courses, and what's amazing is that a lot of people just never had a pranic healing session themselves before, but they just want to learn it. So you can learn it in a weekend. It is not complicated. It's too simple to be true. So I learned it in a weekend. And I never did it because I thought it can't possibly be that simple. You know, you learn techniques on, if you cut yourself, how you can heal it instantly, instantaneous healing of fresh wounds, etc. You learn in basic pranic healing. So the first level, there's 4 levels in total, but the first level you learn it in a weekend. There is my mentor here in the UK. He'd only done that first level, and he went in to a boy who was lying in a coma, and they were going to switch the machines off because he'd been in a coma for many, many months after an accident, and there was no sign of improvement. So the doctors had declared him dead, medically dead, and they were going to switch the machines off the following morning. Now, with just having done the 1 weekend, basic pranic healing, Les, that's his name, of the pranic healing practitioner, he went in, he just did a basic treatment and went back out again, and nothing happened during the treatment. But the following morning he got a phone call, and they told him that something had changed with the boy and they weren't going to switch the machines off anymore. And then he continued doing the treatments over a series of many months, and this boy, who was a young teenager at the time, I think, he's now a grown man in his 30s living a normal life. So just with the techniques that you learn in the basic pranic healing course, you can achieve things like that, even if you don't believe in it, because it's all technique and protocol based. As long as you follow the instructions that you learn in the course, you can totally help people very, very fast. And the best thing is there's no tools required. You just need your hands and
oh my gosh, okay,
the techniques that you learn. So that's why I would say the course, if you feel drawn to it, or join a local Twin Hearts meditation group or an online challenge. For me, it was mainly the Twin Hearts meditation at the beginning that drew me to Pranic Healing and, intellectually learning about energy. So I did all the courses. I didn't really do many of the techniques except for the twin hearts. But then as and when people around me started suffering, I couldn't not do the techniques, right? So it's good to learn them, have them in your back pocket, and then as and when you need them, you can just open the book like a cookbook and follow the recipe. And even if you don't believe in it, you can really help somebody.
I am processing so much. I feel, Bianca, like I'm a bad partner in this conversation because you have given me so much amazing information.
Yeah,
you have given me answers.
I know it's a lot of information. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Please don't apologize. You are amazing. You have given me answers that I have been looking for that you didn't even know I was looking for. You've really solved a lot of trying not to get emotional. Just our conversation alone, no techniques. You've given me tools. You've given me guidance. I have a plan now on something that I had really been struggling with. And so how amazing is that? And so that's why I feel like I've been a bad partner in this, because I've been absorbing and absorbing and absorbing, taking all of this and the answers. And I am so grateful. And so what I can give you back is just extreme gratitude. And thank you, because you are exactly what I envisioned for guests for this podcast, because as you know, it's based on the science of hope and resiliency. And I want everything to be practical tools that you can use immediately. And you gave us, I was writing them down. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, like 5 different things that we can do now, instantly, today, right? Probably more than that. And they don't require any money. We can check books out of the library. And so no matter where you are in your life, no matter what's going on, you've given us something we can do. You've given us the idea of how to change our thoughts positively. And so thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your work with us. Absolutely. If you are interested in more of this journey, I would encourage you to reach out to Bianca. You can reach out through LinkedIn or through her website. We will link all in the show notes. If you reach out to me, I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm going to forward your email to Bianca, because what I can say is that she's this amazing light that will give you the path, will shine the light on the path that you've been looking for. That's the only way I know how to describe it. I'm a very visual person. And so it's like, if you're lost in the jungle, you shine that light on the path of how to move forward. And I'm extremely, extremely grateful to you today, Bianca. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share about Pranic Healing, because it's really transformed my own life so much. And when I go on, so the spiritual path is called Ahatic Yoga. When I go to Ahatic Yoga retreats around the world and I speak to people from other parts of the world and the amazing healing stories that they have to share, it's like, I just want as many people as possible to know about Pranic Healing and to give it a go, try it out for themselves. So Pranic Healing exists in so many countries around the world. I always meet people from countries I've never heard about at these events. And so you can really, anybody can learn it. Anybody can learn it, and anybody can be helped with it, because we have got energy flowing through us. That's why we're alive. And our bodies can be enhanced with very simple techniques. So you can even find a local pranic healer in your local area and then take it from there, because the more people we get together for the meditations as well, the stronger the energy of the meditation, and the faster we're all going to grow as individuals, but also as groups.
I love that. Bianca, thank you so much. And I will be in touch. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please reach out and know that I'm sending all kinds of positive energy your way.
Thank you. I have like this really lovely, fluffy feeling in my chest right now, Sarah.
Thank you. I was worried I hadn't given you anything. I felt like I had just taken everything. So thank you.
Thank you.